Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to my podcast, Snacks Thoughts. I say again, welcome to my podcast, Snacks Thoughts. And what is my thought for the night? Well, my thought for the night is America's season changed. And I say it again, America's season changed. And what do I mean when I talk about America's season having changed? Well, everybody all knows that in terms of the weather, we have four seasons. Generally speaking, in most cases, you have four seasons in most places on planet Earth. You have winter, you have spring, you have summer, and you have fall. And so each one of those periods of the weather are considered a season. And the season is a temporal time period, that lasts for a certain amount of moments before it transitions into another season or a different weather pattern, if that would make sense. And in different seasons of the weather, you normally have different types of attire that people wear, in order to adjust, for the particular season, And there's other examples, there's certain fruit, is only grown in a certain season. Normally you don't get watermelons, so to speak, in the winter. Or maybe certain types of fruits or vegetables, you don't get the crossbreeding of the genetics, for whatever reasons are, with the farmers because of the particular season or time period. And once that season or that time period has moved on, then that means that you have to be prepared for a change, for something different. And when I talk about America's season change, I'm talking about its positioning globally and even life as we knew it in this country. Now, I've always said that I believe that the United States is the greatest country in the world, but I believe that our season has changed, and I believe right now in the number one spot, I believe that it's China. And why would I believe that America's season has changed? Well, some of the things I look at is the current state, obviously, of our economy. Then you combine that with the pandemic, and then the spinoffs of that particular viral disease, such as the Omicron and stuff like that, and the different lockdowns that had occurred during the pandemic, and how things have shifted in life as we know it. Businesses changed, how people work, it's changed. Many had become accustomed to staying home. Now, obviously, there are still certain jobs that you have to be hands-on and face-to-face. And one of those, I believe, is would be nursing. I believe other areas are the trades, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, welders, construction workers, so those type of jobs you can't run from a computer, but many other jobs, people are able, especially if it's white collar, they were able to work from home. Blue collar, you're still going to have to show up and have hands on. But even in those particular career fields, everything changed. People wearing masks, this economy, they're starting to admit now that it's a recession, but I believe it's a depression. The real unemployment rate, which they fudge the numbers to say is 3.9, but I say multiply by at least 3 to 4. That's your real unemployment rate. And it could be a little bit worse than that, because they're not necessarily counting certain individuals who've given up looking for work. But you have the universal basic income that has been instituted, and it's on its last leg of the pilot program, where they picked a sample of the population to give them basically, if you want to say, maybe a stimulus check every month, and just to see what the individuals or those families' spending habits would be if they gave them this particular income stream every month. Now, universal basic income, it is universal, meaning that all countries are participating in this program, and it is what they eventually are going to move to, I believe, for those that may be poor, and maybe for those that are working class poor that may need the extra income, or people that may be permanently displaced out of the workforce. And so you have these moves that are being made by government and corporations. I mean, you could look at it. You have more businesses shutting down. Also, in the state of California, they have become so desperate that they're getting ready to institute a new law that grocery stores are not allowed, and certain businesses are not allowed to close their doors. They have to give a 6 months notice before they close their doors, and give the state of California a chance to find a replacement option. And you're asking these businesses to stay open after people are able to rob and loot. And if they only take a certain amount, if it's below a certain threshold, then you're not allowed to arrest them. You have a shortage of law enforcement, a shortage with your military. And so you look at America's debt ratio. They're printing the dollar to infinity, which obviously I believe that they're intentionally trying to break it so that they can transition to digital, to include cryptocurrency. But America's season has changed. I believe that life as we know it, where the dollar was so dominant and you could let the good times roll, at this current stage that we're in right now, those days, honestly, they're over with. Many people can't afford to pay their bills. They're being outpriced with rent, outpriced in the housing market. Many can't even afford vehicles. Credit card debt is skyrocketing. So the season of free-flowing prosperity in America, I believe it's come down tremendously. And I guess you could say maybe the economy is stagnant, but life here in America has changed. And I'm not sure if the masses or the people in America are aware of it, or if they're ready for this particular change. But I believe America as we know it, I believe its season has changed, and it's going to move into a different season, and it'll never be the same as it was before. There's an old saying that freedom isn't free. And life as we've known it here in America is not going to be the same. Your middle class is dissipating. I mean, greatly dissipating and being wiped out. The United States doesn't have the money, like they used to. And like I said, you have, things going on with the BRICS nations and stuff like that. And they're moving into using another currency, or the BRICS currency, to do their trade or purchase goods. And people especially in America, seem to think that the United States dollar has forever. And to be honest with you, it doesn't. I can't exactly say when it'll get pulled from its reserve currency status, but I do believe that the United States dollar, I believe at the current rate that they're going, printing so much of it, and with these other nations beginning to make moves and using currency backed by gold, I honestly hate to say it, but some say that it'll take years for this to happen, but I don't think so. I would give the United States dollar maybe about 10 years before the change has taken place. And it could happen even faster than that, especially with them going digital. It could happen faster than that. But if these other nations find another workaround, and they don't have to rely on the dollar as much, doesn't mean that it won't be around. But if they reduce its use right now, I believe the dollar may be used maybe 70. Before it was I think it was 80, and just that fast is being reduced. So if they reduce the use of the dollar globally down to say as much as 50% or even as much as 35%, you can imagine how expensive prices and goods will be for the consumer here in America. And you already see the advents of things happening, and with inflation going on here in the United States. And I understand there are other countries in the world right now that are in recession, such as the United Kingdom. And there are others, depression, call it what it is, Japan, but obviously the news media in America doesn't want to admit yet what the actual state is. But the season for America has changed, and America as we know it, it'll never be the same. After post-pandemic America will not be the same America as we know it. You have artificial intelligence moving in to take over, and it's already taking jobs. It's moving in. The change has come. And once this train has begun to roll, it's not going to stop. And when you're dealing with artificial intelligence and technology, things are drastically going to speed up, almost overnight. Things have changed in America. And I believe that as U.S. citizens, we need to be ready to transition and adapt. You have the migrants that are here, and it's unfortunate. In some ways, they are displacing Americans in the job market, some in the housing market. I mean, I could go on and on, but the bottom gist is that America's season for the gravy train in the good old days, those days are gone. Even if it rebounds and comes back, United States, it will never ever have the glory, that it once held. Things have changed, and we are in a different season. And I believe that America is going through a period of some humbling, and there's somewhat, of a breakdown. Now America obviously will still be around, but it won't be the same as the America that we're used to. And so we need to be prepared to transition and accept the change, because the America that we once knew, that America is not going to come back. Trust me on that. But things have changed, times have changed, and every great nation has their season. And as with anything, everybody has their turn, and our turn, our time is come, to a close, and we have to be ready to let someone else take the lead on the global stage. And I believe that right there is China. And whether America is ready to face it or not, the change has come, and it's going to take place regardless. Our season is over. We had, our day in the sun. And now it's time for a new regime. America's season, it has changed. But be ready to adapt and transition to the new lifestyle or to America as we know it. You're definitely going to see it. When you see them starting to roll back everything from abortion, universal basic income, when Americans can't afford to buy homes or can't afford to rent. And that's just some of it. That's tip of the iceberg. Some senior citizens can't afford to retire. They're going to have to work, until, till they basically unalive on this planet. Things have changed. It's not the way that it used to be. Doesn't mean that good times won't come back eventually, but it's not going to be the same as we knew it. And we have to be ready for that. Else, there's going to be some people that's in for a rude awakening. But that's all I have on this episode of Snacks Thoughts. But America's season, it has changed. And every great nation has their time. Every empire has their season, and eventually at some point, they have to step aside or be deposed by the new empire. But that's all I have on this one, guys. And the name of this podcast is Snacks Thoughts. That's SNAKZTHOUGHTS. And you can find this podcast on Acast, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Radio PBM, and a host of other social media outlets. And I also have a YouTube channel, Eric Broadus YouTube. That's EricBroadus YouTube, or EricBroadusYouTube.com. So please join and subscribe to Snacks Thoughts and also Eric Broadus YouTube. And go over to the channel and smash that bell to become a subscriber. And leave a like or unlike if you don't like the content. And please leave a comment. Love to dialogue with you. Everyone is entitled to their opinion and their perspective. But please share it. Eric Broadus YouTube and Snacks Thoughts. Share it, guys. Push it out to family, friends, enemies, frenemies, rats, backs, dogs, cats, and goats. Push it out and share it. But consider it, guys. American season has changed. Peace out, guys. And I will catch you on the next one. Later.